Sir, we can start.
Okay, right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Now we are going to start with this contract management one part regarding subcontractors. One of the major thing in contract management is using subcontractors or giving subcontracting. Normally, we are giving to the contract to some after doing all these procurement arrangements. We hand over the contract to a contract, but that contract sometimes can hire a subcontractors, right? Or sometimes the client, the procurement entity or the client, right? They will decide who are the contractors. Them called nominated subcontractors. So we'll go through that and see who is this subcontractor, what is his work, how many, what's the quantity that contractor can give it to subcontractor on subcontracting, and the subcontractors, type of subcontractors, not the same, and the process of subcontracting, and also what are the issues you get in subcontracting. Those are the things now today we are going to discuss. Subcontractors can contribute highly specialized skills and equipment not available to main contractors and can supplement the resource of main contractors, enabling high levels of quality, technology, and reducing project timelines and increasing value for money. Sometimes some contractors, they don't have the necessary skills for that contract, not 100%. In that, contractors are not fully equipped. Now say there is a IT company. So we want to give that IT company a IT contract. But that IT company, they don't have a programmer or a software engineer to do some part of that contract. All these companies, they don't have all the experts, right? So they can't maintain all the experts. So therefore, at that time, they can employ an expert subcontractor to do that part. So like that, all the contractors, most of the contractors, when they are having a contract, when they win a contract, the client allow them to take subcontractors where necessary. But there are some limitations also. So all these things we'll go through one by one. First, we can say objectives of subcontractors. What is the objective of subcontractors? Actually, refer to the key reasons why procurement entity is client, right? Or the government. Or contractors delegate specific parts of a project or contract to subcontractors. As I explained you all, sometimes they will give. And these objectives help improve efficiency, reduce cost, and ensure specialized expertise is available for successful project completion. We hope, right? We assume after getting a subcontractor, the objective of that is to help to improve efficiency, reduce cost, and ensure specialized expertise. But always not happening like that. We think, but sometimes there are some problems. Now we are going to talk about these problems also. Who is a subcontractor? A subcontractor refers to a supplier of maybe goods, works, a plant, or some non-consultancy services or a consultancy services. But in consultancy services, we don't say subcontractors, we say subconsultants. We say subconsultant that has entered to a contractual agreement to perform a portion of a contract, not the full contract, right? Full contract we are giving to the main contractor. We call that main contractor sometimes the prime contractor. He's the person who is getting a contract from the client or from the government. That contractor can give sub to the subcontractor. Maybe you have heard about that, but not in much details. In this course that we are going to study more details about subcontract. What is subcontracting? I explain you all, but anyway, we will see. A contractual agreement with whom? The contractual agreement with the subcontractor is a main contractor. Main contractor is having an agreement with the subcontractor, where PEO, main contractor, delegates a portion of their contractual obligations. So sometimes there must be a question on you, why I say the PE or main contractor. There is a reason for that. From the next slide, I will explain you all. Sometimes the signing the agreement can be with the main contractor or sometimes with the procurement entity, right? Clearly consider that sometimes the agreement signed with the procurement entity or contract signed with main contractor. I will explain you from the next this thing, what is the difference of this. Delegates, but two of them, maybe a subcontractor or a nominated subcontractor, delegates with the we delegates a portion of their contractual obligations to third party. The subcontractor in various industries such as construction, IT manufacturing, or IT, product manufacturing, or consulting, and public procurement, any contract you can have these subcontractors. Right. Now I will explain here. The subcontractor can sign an agreement with the PE or with the main contractor. If the subcontractor sign the contract with the PE, then it's called nominated subcontractor. Others, normal subcontractors. There is another category called specialized subcontractors, but it's not much important here. Nominated subcontractor and the normal subcontractor. Before we go to the normal subcontractor, we get some idea about nominated subcontractor also. Because after that, we can start with our subcontractor lecture. Right. What is none? Now, yeah. nominated subcontractor. So they are, before you go through this slide, I will explain you. Now say for example, I mean that I'm the procurement entity. Always think like that, I'm the client, right? I want to do a house, building contract. And all my lift in other buildings are Otis. Maybe brand name is Otis. It's doing very well. And also there is a person, the agent. He is a very good company. His company. So I want to give that part, only the structure of the, not the structure, the installment of the lift to that party. I know that party very well because I have done some work from him earlier. He's done a job and his prices are reliable. Like that, he is very good. Therefore, I want to nominate him as a subcontractor to the contractor. So I'm signed the, maybe I'm signed with the contract agreement with this nominated subcontractor. But I will give it to the main contractor. He will have to carry out work with him. So that is called nominated subcontractor because I nominate him. You can see the payments and all these things, who is going to do it. Now I will say that I'll nominate this subcontractor, then you might have a question. So who is going to pay for him? Yes, the procurement entity is going to pay him, not the contractor. But main contractor also has some responsibility. So those are the things that we are going to talk. Nominated subcontractor is a subcontractor, is also subcontractor, selected or approved by the client, not by the main contractor. The client requires the main contractor to engage the subcontractor to perform specific tasks suggested by the client under the main contract. As I explained you all, I want to fix the lift. So I want to ask the contractor, okay, you'll have to take this man as a subcontractor and you help him to do it. So what are the characteristics of nominated subcontractor? Now we are going further details to understand who is subcontractor and what he is doing and what are the problems he's having, right? Issues. Appointed by the client, that means the procurement entity. The client selects the subcontractor based on specific criteria. Specific criteria. There is a reason for me to nominate him. Just my friend or my relative, I can't make him as a nominated subcontractor. There should be a specific criteria. Maybe that I have selected him on competitive basis earlier, but now I know he's okay, his prices are okay. So I'll have to justify. If audit asks me, how did you select this subcontractor? I'll have to justify how I have selected him. So like that, always we will have to justify the procurement decisions, right? Main contractor's responsibility, that we can't say after I select the subcontractor to install the lift to that building, main contractor didn't have any responsibility on that. No, he has a responsibility. He will have to work with that subcontractor, and he will have to get some advices. What is the size of lift? What are the things that how to do it, how to construct it, that part, he will have to get the advice from nominated subcontractor because he is the expert on this subject. So main contractor's responsibility is while the subcontract is nominated by the client, it's it's okay. The main contractor is still responsible for their performance, payment, and compliance. Payments, I will tell you how to do it, right? Later, I will tell you. But there he is responsible. Payment can be made out of provisional sum. That's what I say. I think maybe some engineers are there and some project managers are there in this batch. Maybe you are aware what is this provisional sum. Provisional sum means, now I don't have a board to explain you all. I think some of you all aware about provisional sum. The provisional sum means that, say, I will give you a very small example. Sorry. Hello. I will give you a very small example. Now say there is a building. The contract value is 1,000 million. I have already entrust and award the contract to some X, contractor X. I have already selected him. So, in addition to 1,000 million, normally for this construction, normally these constructions, in addition to 1,000 million, I will keep some extra money, say 100 million or 20 million. I will keep that 20 million, whoever the contractor comes, the provisional sum is 20 million. That 20 million, separately I will keep that money. Because there are some areas that I want to spend. Now, one area is the payment to subcontract, nominated subcontractor. So I will say, okay, out of 20, 10 million is his price. Nominated subcontractor's price. I will tell the main contractor, you pay that 10 million, but you can get it from the provisional sum. That is the very simple, provisional sum is very complicated one, but that's a simple example to you to understand if you are not an engineer or a project manager. Right. You know, you are clear about payments. If you are not clear, you can ask me later, right? Specialized work, typically used for high specialized tasks, such as mechanical or electrical or IT system. There are some specialized areas where there is no facility with the main contractor. He is unable to do it. He doesn't have any experts to do that part. Therefore, I will have to. I also know that if I give my nominated subcontractor, he will do a good job. Right. Pre-existing arrangement. The client may have pre-negotiated pricing, terms, or quality standards. I am already with the nominated subcontractor because I have nominated him. The big responsibility with me also. I will discuss with him, okay, how are you going to plan this? And what is your price? Pre-negotiated price. Huh? That's what I say early before I nominate him. I will ask him, I will negotiate with him. What is your price? And what is your terms and conditions? How is the quality standards? All these things I am discussing, negotiating with him, because the main part of the responsibility is with me. Because I have introduced this subcontractor to main contractor. Right. Is there any question? Okay. Now, I will take some examples and I will explain. Then you will get a real idea about nominated subcontractor. Example 1. In the construction industry, there are so many industries. Construction, IT, infrastructure, then supplying of the goods, maybe supply of the power plant, supplying of the 5,000 number of computers or anything. You can have a nominated subcontractors to do a main specified part where the main contractor, he doesn't have. So I will give I'm sure about my nominated subcontractor, so I'll give it to him. But there are some problems, right? Although we study like that, but there are so many problems. We'll see what are the problems in this lesson. Right. Example 1, construction industry. A government agency contracts a construction firm to build a hospital. Okay. Health department want to start a hospital in Nigambu, separate branch of the hospital or separate hospital in Nigambu, Chilau, somewhere there, anywhere. The client nominates a specific medical equipment supplier to install operating room, operating theater equipments. Now, normal construction engineer, he doesn't know anything about, maybe he is not an expert on operating theater equipment. So I will nominate some expert I will nominate some expert having expert knowledge on operating theater as a nominated subcontractor. The main contractor must engage the subcontractor under the client's guidelines. So, main contractor will have to have a chat with the nominated subcontractor, and he will engage as a now you can say as a subcontractor under the client's guidelines. I will give all the guidelines, most of the guidelines, how to do it. But main contractor also having a big area of responsibility, large area of responsibility. Different, the main structure, main thing has to be done by a main contractor. Example number 2, public infrastructure project. Now say I have taken this highway. Now highway construction project requires a specialized LED street lights. I think in Sri Lanka highways you don't get street lights. Very rare. Katunayaka, Nigambu, some areas you get, especially if it's going over the bridges, you get street lights. But I can remember Colombo Kurunagala, Colombo Gold site, you noticed it. You can't see street lights, very rare, here and there. So now we will take this example. In a highway construction, project requires, or a government requires, specialized LED street lights. So that person is the nominated subcontractor. The government nominates, right? Procurement entity or government nominates a pre-approved lighting company due to warranty and quality requirements. Due to warranty and quality requirements, client is selected already, pre-approved lighting company. Now he says the main contractor, okay, I will give this company, he will do the LED street lights in the highway. He is the nominated subcontractor. The main contractor is responsible for coordinating installation, but must use the nominated supplier. Main contractor is responsible for coordinating and installation, but must use the nominated supplier or nominated subcontractor. Another example in IT procurement. I have taken a little bit more examples to understand this point to you. A university IT system upgrade includes a requirement for Cisco networking equipment. I think most of you have heard about Cisco. That is the IT system. Now I can remember in Colombo University, I can remember last about 2-3 months back, they have started with the new university at UCSC, new building. It's for the mainly IT or this thing. They want to have a Cisco. Oh, I think, I can't remember what is the brand name. Maybe Cisco networking equipments. So the government nominate and authorize Cisco distributor to supply and install hardware. To supply and install hardware. That's a hardware part. So that's a specialized area. Therefore, university, that is government, nominates an authorized Cisco distributor to do that. Software and other part may be doing by the main contractor, main IT system contractor. We must be having software engineers, software developers like that. He must be having those people. The main contractor must include the supplier in their subcoordinating plan. Yes, he's having a plan, no? Subcoordinating plan. So for that, inside the subcoordinating plan, he will have to put this nominated subcontractor also. Right. So in these 3 examples, I have given the main contractor's job in 3 different ways. I have put it to you to understand. Main contractor must engage the subcontractor under the client's guidance. One requirement. The main contractor is responsible for coordinating installation, but must use the nominated subcontractor. Another requirement. The main contractor must include the supplier in their subcontracting plan. Other requirement. So different type of requirements I have given you to understand. Advantages of nominated subcontractor. What is the advantage? Ensures quality and standards. Because the client say, I select subcontractors with proven expertise. Otherwise, I can't select. These are one of advantage and one of requirement. I'll have to justify to my superiors how I am going to select this man. As I told you, I have selected him some other, maybe some other procurement process using. So ensures quality and standards because of this nominated subcontract is having the proven expertise. Reduce procurement time. The employer pre-selects vendors, avoiding lengthy negotiations. So I have experience. He will on time, he will use and also maintains consistency used when specific brands, technologies or services providers are needed. I'll just give you one example. When I was in the judicial project, I have given one contract on court automation. Automate 8 courthouses, maybe about 10, 12 years back. Mr. Sarathan Silva was the Chief Justice. The contract awarded to one Australian company, I can't remember that company's name now. Yes, Australian company. So they asked me to give it's not really a nominated subcontractor, but they have suggested me to one subcontractor to as a nominated subcontractor, because they can get the items. They say, for example, they want to have specific computers and some screens and all these things. So they have done that. At that time, this company has done only 1 or 2 projects all over the world, right? About 12, 15 years back. So they have done all the software, the consultancy part, using that brand. Maybe the IBM or IBM or Asus or Apple or some other name, say Hewlett Packard or whatever it is. So that they want to take that items from that supplier, because they have used the use for their consultancy part, software and all these things, that equipment. So they were sure that their system will work properly if you use that one. So that's called critical items, we say. So that we have done it. So they have done a job properly, and it was working very well. Now I think now it's out of the date and out of date. Now they are trying to put another new scheme, new system, right? Challenges of nominated subcontracting. There are some challenges also, the problems, challenges. Potential cost increase. The nominated subcontractor may charge higher prices than market rates. That can happen, no? It's a normal situation sometimes, because he will think that we have nominated, we have select only him. So he will think that he can charge any amount, because he's the only person that we have selected. Sometimes it can happen. So you will have to face for that challenge, and you'll have to negotiate, and you'll have to pre-negotiate with him and see. Limited control for main contractor. Limited control for main contractor. That you can understand, right? This nominated subcontractor might not listen to the main contractor. He will always think, oh my God, I am coming from the my client, the government and the ministry. They will pay me. So the main contractor can't give words on me. No, it is not like that. We will have to explain them. The main contractor may face difficulties managing performance. In that case, the nominated contractor's work performance, the main contractor might have some problems. He might face some difficulties. Liability issues. If the subcontractor underperforms, disputes may arise between the client and main contractor. Sometimes I might have a problem with the main contractor, not only the nominated subcontractor, because the major part of responsibility goes to the main contractor also. Right. Those are the subcontracting, nominated subcontracting issues and details. Now we will come to our main area, subcontracting. Nominated subcontracting is one area. Now we are coming to our main area of subcontracting. Key objectives and benefits of subcontracting. Mainly, I explain you in brief. Objectives and benefits are that you can get a good job if you give it to the expert to do it. Sometimes main contractor, he might not have that expertise, that skills, right? Therefore, if you give it to someone else, we can get it done properly. Access to specialized skills, cost optimization. Sometimes cost might come down. In one place, I told that nominated subcontractors' price might high, but we can negotiate and we can reduce that. And here these subcontracting, normal subcontractors are taken by the main contractor or prime contractor. He's the one who decide on that. The client won't interfere. Sometimes client will interfere, but in a normal cases, we don't interfere. We have allowed the main contractor or a prime contractor to take his subcontractors and discuss with them how to pay and all these things. He will have to pay. As I told you, my full payment is 1,000 million to the contractor. Contractor will have to share with the subcontractor according to his portion of work he is doing. And increased efficiency and flexibility. All flexibility also there because contractor can discuss with him. And few more benefits are given below. So I have given some more benefits for a prime contractor. Maybe these all, most of these things will affect the main contractor or a prime contractor. Access to specialized skills and expertise. I told you all. Subcontracting allows access to highly skilled professionals or specialized firms that the main contractor may lack. Maybe main contractor, he doesn't have that specialty or experts. In that case, he can take, not the nominated subcontractor, it's that he's over now, that part. Now we are talking about the normal subcontractors. For example, a construction company subcontracting,
1 minute. 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 1 minute.
electrical work or fixing a lift to a specialist firm ensures high quality installation. Earlier I told to have a lift, to fix the lift, that we have nominate somebody, and it is called nominated subcontractor. But it's not necessary. Necessarily, it's not happen. Because you can, the contractor will fix that, put in his consultant. That can happen. No issue in that case. Cost reduction or optimization and efficiency. Cost optimization. The maximum benefit over the cost and efficiency will be high. Subcontracting can be more cost effective than maintaining in-house team for every aspect of a project. For example, in IT projects, companies subcontract software testing to offshore firms to save labor costs. That can do it. Contractor will select an offshore firm to subcontract that part, software testing or a software security. Risk sharing and management. By subcontracting, a company distributes risk, financial, technical, and operational, to subcontractors. Some of the risk, contractor won't take it, but he can distribute among subcontractors depending on their areas. For example, I have given an example for most of the time because to understand. For example, a road construction company subcontracts drainage work to a specialized firm to reduce liability. So that means that drainage work in a high-rise building is a entirely different, I mean, very difficult task. You'll have to be very careful. You should have a specialized firm to do that. Even when you are designing your house also, I think the architect will tell you the drainage work architecturing. It is a special area that your construction architect will take a plan from the drainage work engineer. Now I can remember one thing. I don't know whether somebody is aware. In Dubai, nearly about 880 meters high, new building is Khalifa high-rise building. I don't know the exact name. Khalifa is the name. What is their drainage system? Anybody is aware about that? Khalifa, that building, Khalifa building drainage system. 880 meters. I don't know how many floors. From there, you get toilets nearly about, I don't know, 1,990 toilets or something like that. Now I can't remember the number of toilets. But their drainage system is entirely different drainage system. Maybe that is the first time they have used that, implement that system. go through some books and understand what is that system. It will take some time if I am going to explain it, but if you couldn't find it, tell me, I will tell you briefly. Flexibility and scalability. Subcontracting allows, this is all for the prime contractor, main contractor. Subcontracting allows companies, this company is the main contractor, right? Companies. I'm not saying every time constructor, because there are, IT is not a contractor. If related to IT, we call consultant company, or a company, hardware company, or a IT system company, or a computer supply, we call, or the power plant supply, we call power company, power engineering company, or something like that. Therefore, I use some areas, I use the common name as a company. This is the contractor, main contractor, right? So subcontracting allows companies to scale their workforce up or down. So that means increase or reduce their workforce depending on project needs. Example, a government IT project subcontracting additional coders for urgent project deadlines. What do you mean by coders? Can somebody say? Who is coders? The people who are preparing codes. Maybe a computer programmer, maybe a software engineer. All these people can happen. It's a common name I have used. If there is a urgent project deadlines, that the company can take a IT project, they can give a subcontracting to another IT project, another IT company. But must remember, there are some limits. That is called limitation of subcontractors. It will come. So faster project completion. If sometimes, if the main contractor think my work is getting delayed with my people, so I want to put extra people, extra company, according to the and according to the limitations, right? I will tell you later limitations. Work can be divided among multiple subcontractors, not only one subcontractor. Multiple subcontractors leading to faster execution. To faster the execution without delays. For example, in large infrastructure projects, different subcontractors handle excavation. Maybe one subcontractor, the expert in excavation work. The foundation might be a different subcontractor. And finishing work, you know finishing work, right? That's also a special area now, especially these days. So he want to do it simultaneously. After excavation and the foundation, both together, and later part by part, finishing work simultaneously. So that is for faster project completion. Compliance with regulations and contractual requirements. Some project requires local law certified subcontractors to meet legal or funding agency requirements. Sometimes some contractors need some legal and funding requirements. in an ADB funded project example, subcontractors must meet environmental and social compliance standards. ADB and other funded agencies also very keen about environmental issues. I think in your this course, there can be a special area, sustainable procurement, sustainable public procurement. That is, they will cover 3 areas. One is, yes, I think I'm taking that lectures. Yes. Environmental, social, and economic. All 3 areas you'll have to cover in your procurement different ways, right? That is, that area we call sustainable procurement, sustainable public procurement. I think most probably I will take those lectures, right? So the ADB and most of the funded projects now, it's came very recently. The sustainable procurement came very recently. Some countries are complaining. Some countries complaining to the World Bank and the ADB that they have a very big problem to going through the sustainable procurement issues. But those funded agencies insisting to go to environmental and social compliance standards and economic standards also. Right. As I explained you all, now we will come to the limits of subcontracting. Now, most of the places, before I go through this presentation, I will tell you, according to my experience, most of the contracts I have seen, we allow the contractor to do only 10% of subcontracting from the total amount, or sometimes 20%. We mentioned in the bidding document condition. It's all depend on the nature and the complexity of the contract, of the work. It's construction or IT. Sometimes IT, it goes more than 30% subcontracting you have to give. It's a very specialized area. New things are coming up. But normal, now say, put up a building, right? So that is the normal percentage is 10 to 20%. Maximum you can go for subcontracting. More than that, prime contractor can't give subcontracting. Now, sometimes some bidding documents we mention some areas. There are, that's what I say, depending on the nature and the other standards, subcontract percentage might change. Sometimes we put a condition saying, if you want to do more than limits, I mean, more than 30%, you will have to get the approval from the client. Now, when I put the into the, I think if you get some interference of my this thing of my system, there are some signals going on. System, you can inform me, then I can put into the personal hotspot or something, some other internet line. So if it goes, I have mentioned in the bidding document 30%. If it goes more than that, they will have to get approval, prior approval from the client. That is one condition. Okay. Now we will go to what are the limits of subcontracting. Although subcontracting offers several benefits and that need to be managed to ensure project success. Actually, we don't give much subcontracting because we have selected contractor after all process, procurement process and the evaluation process. So we know that he is the best person to do that job. Successfully, he will do it. But he's trying to get more and more subcontractors without any limit. We are not sure about the project success. Sometimes it happens. There are so many examples in Sri Lanka. I don't know whether you are aware, in IT procurement, IT contracts, I think not only Sri Lanka, it's a global situation. Only 20% of the contracts are successful. Nearly about 50 is failures. Others are partial failures. I think now, last year also, I'm not sure because of the world situation, COVID and other things, that construction, IT systems, IT projects, the volume of the IT projects has come down. Therefore, maybe the success stories are less. It's important to understand that these limits apply to both the prime, that means main contractor, the one who subcontracts, and the subcontractor. Both parties responsible. Both parties, you get limits, right? These limitations can create challenges and risk for both the prime contractor, main contractor, and the subcontractor. Limitations. We will discuss what are the main limitations. Main contracts usually impose limits on the scope of subcontracting. In public procurement contracts, subcontracting beyond a certain percentage, for example, 30%, may require client approval. You will have to get the client's approval. Not only that, sometimes, if you have mentioned 30% in your bid document, bid conditions, if you go beyond that, you'll have to get the special approval from the client. Not only that, if it is a funded agency, say for example, World Bank funded project, then if they have mentioned 30% limitation, if you go more than 30%, you will have to get the not only client, World Bank approval also. So if they request that, when I am a procurement consultant, if I am okay with that, okay, 35%, okay, if I am satisfied with that, so I will write to World Bank and ask, I'm giving the justification why we are going to increase, and I will try to get that increased amount, subcontract up to 35%. Most of the time, when you give a very good justification, the World Bank, ADB, any foreign funded agency will give you the approval because they are sure about you. You may be the procurement consultant. After they get to know and you are a very, very successful officer, so they will give you that approval. They will not check too much. Quality control and performance challenges. The quality of the subcontractor's work directly impacts the overall project. That is obvious, right? Poor performance by a subcontractor can damage the prime contractor's reputation. That is correct. Sometimes maybe a subcontractor's problem, right? His poor performance in some work, it will reflect to the main contractor, his reputation. It will damage his reputation. Right? The main contractor remains, because the main contractor remains responsible for quality. And poorly managed subcontractors can cause defects or delays. Example, IT outsourcing, subcontractor subcontracted developers might produce code that does not meet security standards. They develop some codes, coders, right? But does not meet security standards, cyber security, not the standards. So then whole project will be a failure or with problems. If a subcontractor delivers defective work, the prime contractor may have to incur additional cost, not only damaging his reputation. So he'll have to incur additional cost, because maybe sometimes he'll have to put some other company, some other subcontractor and correct the incorrect work that they have done to rectify the problems. In addition, damage their reputation. Yes, that I explained you all. Loss of control. Another problem. Subcontracting means delegating work, which inevitably leads to some loss of direct control over work performance. It's a normal thing. For example, a prime contractor may find it difficult to ensure a subcontractor adheres to the same quality standards or timelines as their own employees. Contractor, of course, he has a very good control over his employees, because he has supervisors, managers, everybody. They will listen to their bosses. But subcontractors, people, sometimes they will not listen to the main contractor or main contractor supervisors. So if loss of control, then those supervisors will not have enough control over those works. Legal and compliance risk. Subcontracts must adhere to labor laws, health and safety regulations, and tax obligations. Sometimes if subcontractors stay without paying taxes, ultimately the main contractor will have to pay their taxes also. If the subcontractors doesn't go on a labor laws, they will put a case against the main contractor. So it's an unnecessary problem to the main contractor. For example, in Sri Lanka's construction industry, subcontractors must comply with CIDB. That is called Construction Industry Development Board regulations. CIDB regulations. Subcontractors are bound with these regulations. CIDB, Construction Industry Development Board regulations. So subcontractors have to be very careful about legal and other compliance risk. Liability risks, again something like that. Now say for example, now we are asking subcontractors, no, the main contractor to get the liability risk. They'll have to take that and they will have to show to us. Otherwise, we are not going to sign the contract, main contract with them. We are asking so many insurance risk, the liability risk also, something like that. Now, if some laborer or somebody worker get damaged or get injured in that contract, this thing, so they will have to pay liability. Some subcontractors people, they might not pay liability because we are having a liability risk and all these things, sign agreement with the main contractor. But when he get subcontractors, he's also have to be very careful. He will have to sign the agreement with all subcontractors within all these risks and the liabilities. The prime contractor may be held liable for the actions of their subcontractors, even if they were not directly involved. Just that's what I say. For example, if a subcontractor causes an accident on site, the prime contractor could face legal action. Any worker work in the subcontractor's area, sites, if something goes wrong, the prime contractor could face the legal action. They will put cases, sometimes again, prime contractor, if they have not pre-prepared agreement, correct agreement with the subcontractor. Okay. Confidentiality and data security risk. Sharing sensitive data and subcontractors, data with subcontractors increases security risk. Sensitive data, that is IT project especially. For an example, government IT project, subcontractors handling personal data must comply with Sri Lanka's Data Protection Act. Something happened sometime back. NMRA, I think you can remember, Health Department, NMRA, one day all the IT system got fired and destroyed. So later we found the main contractor, main company has given that part, that security part to the subcontractor. By mistake, subcontract put, the not experts for that job. Don't you know, they just put maybe students sometimes to handle that. So it happened later. And it was a big issue at that time. Financial risk. If a subcontractor becomes financially insolvent, project continuity is at a risk. That's correct, no? If they don't have enough funding, they won't be able to work, and the continuity of project is at a risk. For example, a main contractor in highway construction may face penalties if a subcontractor delays tarmac supply. Tarmac is that, alpha site, or the, what you call this, in normal work, normal day-to-day usage, we use carpet. අපි කියන්නේ carpet දානවා කියලා පාරේ tarmac. Right? Alpha supply. Dependency risk. Over-reliance on subcontractors can weaken the main contractor's in-house capabilities. Over-reliance. Sometimes in logistic contracts, excessive subcontracting of fleet operations can erode internal control over service quality, mainly happening in logistics contracts. Now, in the same manner, you get some problems with this, that effective to subcontractors also. Not only the prime contractor. Most of these things we talk about prime contractor and the client. But subcontractors also facing some problems. What are the problems? Dependence on the prime contractor. Actually, he'll have to depend on the prime contractor sometimes, but up to some level. Subcontractors are often dependent on the prime contractor for work, which can create financial instability. For example, if prime contractor experiences final difficulties or losses a contract, the subcontractor may lose a significant amount of income. The main man can't find out enough funding or faces any loss. Subcontract also, they might not pay. There are so many incidents, right? When I was in this place, National Procurement Commission, as I told you all, I was there about 6 years as a commissioner of that National Procurement Commission. So many complaints came from the subcontractors where they are not got their correct amounts in time. There were so many problems, especially highway contracts. There were so many problems. The tarmac suppliers, all these highway contractors, they subcontract to most of the people. I mean, sometimes they don't care about 10, 20, 30 limits also. Because they go for as politicians, don't you know? They go behind the politicians and they get the job and put in the subcontractors. They are trying to finish, but it won't success. Then the government or RDA, say for example, Road Development Authority, they don't pay. If they don't pay to the main contractor, the subcontractors are in a problem. So example I have given, if the prime contractor experiences financial difficulties or losses a contract, the subcontractor may lose a significant amount of income. That's correct. Limited control. Subcontractors typically have limited control over the overall project and may have to adapt to changes made by the prime contractor or client. Subcontractor, he is under limited control, not much, right, over the overall project and over the prime contractor or a client. So they are having a very limited control on that. Example, a subcontractor may have to revoke their plans if the client changes the design of the project. First, the main client or main contractor will give some areas to do the subcontractor. But in the middle way, they will change the plans and they will ask the subcontractor to do that. So it's a problem for them. It happens. I mean, that design problems. I mean, you just imagine when the government change, everything will get changed. In Sri Lanka, it's a real problem. They will stop half of the way. Now, you can remember Katunayaka, Nigambu highway, how long it took to work out. One government comes, they started, no need to go through Kattunayake-Nigambu highway, you just imagine the port city, what happened with the other country? Port city, massive. How much we had to pay as a penalty to the Chinese government, nearly about more than $150 million. The one government started, next government came and stopped it. So, I mean, these people, I don't know when these people are, I mean, China, India, Bangladesh, it never happened. Government can change every 4 years or 5 years' time. But all the policies that they have taken, it will continue. You see in the television, sometimes I feel very sorry about Sri Lanka, some matters. In TVs, they show these buildings. Some buildings, they have one government, one era, they have put up a building and they put a stone and they bridge or whatever it is. The next government, they will stop all the work. So it's our money, this country people and citizens' money. But they don't care. They continue that. I don't know when it is going to stop. Right. Limited control and the payment risk again. Subcontractors may face delays in payment or disputes over invoices. Sometimes their main contractor say, no, your invoice is not correct. You'll have to give the correct invoice. There are a lot of disputes because they also not do a proper job. They don't sign a proper contract and the correct contract, correct agreements. Then ultimately they will face to a problem. A subcontractor may have to wait months for payments if the prime contractor is slow to process invoices. Sometimes prime contractor, his area, his clerks and other officers, they don't put the invoices in time, whatever the reason, right, in time. Then the subcontractors to suffer because he's also not getting payment in the correct time. Best practices to overcome these situations. Always we study in these lessons, what are the best practices in managing subcontracting? Not only these 5 reasons, there are so many reasons, right? There are so many reasons. Some of these reasons I have mentioned here. We'll go one by one. Clear contractual terms. I always say agreement, terms and condition has to be very clear. Defining the scope, the work to be done should be very clearly mentioned. Quality standards, deadlines, duration, and the penalties. What are the penalties that they will going to pause on then? Regular audits and inspection. Don't wait until the work is over. Do regular audits. No need to take the government auditor. There can be some problems. I mean that they may have their own system, but you can have your internal auditors. Monitor subcontractor performance. You'll have to monitor. They ask them to monitor subcontractors' performance also, not only main contractor. Financial due diligence. Assess subcontractors' financial stability. So that means when you select the subcontractor, you'll have to be very careful about his financial stability. You'll have to ask from him the last 3 years, maybe audited what do you call audited financial statements, audited profit and loss statement, right? Like that, his cash flow, they will have to show their bank statements, cash flow, the subcontractor from where he's find out the funds to perform his duty. Not like we are putting up a house. If we are putting up a house, we'll have to, in front, we'll have to give the money to the boss or a contractor, right? But the government, these things are not like that. They will have to do it using their funds. After work is done only, they will give the advance payment. It's a different issue. But the full payment they will have to do after complete their work. Confidentiality agreements ensure data security compliance, especially in IT, IT consultancy, IT works, information systems. Contingency planning, that everywhere you will have to do it, but most of the time you don't do it. Now, what I given you this, I mean, in these lectures, you are studying the MSc and you are going through these lectures. Now, you think that after getting your MSc, you will be a qualified man in procurement and supply management. As a procurement person, as a qualified person on procurement and supply chain management, contract management, everything, there are so many subjects you are learning, maybe about 30, 32 subjects you are learning, or 20, 25 subjects. So then everybody expect, even I expect, then you will be an expert. You are not stopping from here. You will have to refer the books relevant to this one, and you'll have to go to the internet and see, and you'll have to go to the publishers and see. The people are writing, the publishers, they publishing internet. You'll have to go through those things. You'll have to read. All the best thing, read and read. Then you can get more and more knowledge. That's how it should be. Not only, you don't limit only the lectures, because you are an MSc student, not an advanced level student, or not a degree student, right? So you'll have to study. Maybe sometimes the questions are asking entirely different from your lectures, but relevant to your subject. Right. Selection and qualification. Now, when you are select a subcontractor, those are the best, the best practices. When you are selecting a subcontractor, you'll have to fix the clear criteria. Otherwise, if the qualifications are not fit, don't select a subcontractor. If you know the guy, he's a very good, nice fellow, don't think those things. Think about qualifications, his capability, to check whether he's capable doing of this your work. Otherwise, don't take him. Or a suggestion came from the minister. Most of the time, it's happening. Now, contractors, after getting a contract, that the people, subcontractors, they used to go to behind the politicians. It has happened in this country. It's happening in this country. Going behind the politicians, and politicians will threaten or will ask those people, the contractors, to take my man and do it. It has happened in this free trade zone. It's a big problem. You know that supplying laborers contract, or otherwise that cut pieces contract. The politicians are handling those things. They are asking the factory owners to do this, like that. They are giving some orders. I think you can remember some time back. One supply went off. The investor, he closed down his factory and went off because of some labor problems or transport problems. They will have to take even this Katunayaka, this Payangode, Minwangode area. That mafia is there, working very, very high level. They are the people who is controlling all transport systems in those Katunayaka, this what do you call this Katunayaka free trade zone. So it should not happen. Right. So therefore, you try to do your best. Try to select the subcontractor with qualification and the capability. Conduct through due diligence, including background checks and financial assessments. Although they give a financial statement, recheck again. See whether they have given the proper, correct documents. Those things you'll have to be very careful. Verify, here you say, verify qualifications, experience, and licenses. They might say, I have a license. Soil mafia, they just remove soil from anywhere without license because politicians are behind them. Bad politicians, not good politicians. I'm not talking about good politicians. The bad politicians. I don't know whether you can find a good politicians. Maybe. Contract negotiation and drafting. Excuse me. Contract negotiation and drafting. Clearly define the scope of work. Very important. When you're going to give the subcontractor some work to be done, the scope you'll have to, or terms of reference, whatever the name, you'll have to clearly define and give the job to them. And the responsibilities and the performance expectations, the main contractor as well as the client, their expectations. Everything should be in writing. Everything should be in writing. Don't just pass the message to them or just tell them. No, it should be in writing. Include provisions for payment, change management, dispute resolution, and termination. Those things should be drafted nicely and do it properly. Ensure compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. That is also very important. Contractor and the subcontractor. Client also having a big responsibility on that. Now, you might think, now here in this lecture, he says that lecturer says that the matters which related to contractor and the subcontractor. It is not our, we are not worried about that. Don't think like that. You are also responsible. You'll have to tell, you'll have to train your contractors. You do this way, and this way, right? Sometime back, I can remember one IT contract, large IT contract. The main contract is Samsung Korea. They have taken a subcontractor in Sri Lanka, local subcontractor. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, to give to supply computers and servers according to that contract. This happened about 10 years back. Oh, yes, somewhere there. Nearly about 3,000-4,000 computers. So I will explain you quickly. That person has signed the person has agreed to say 100,000 per computer. I'll take one example, right? Big company in Sri Lanka, 100,000 per company. And the Samsung Korea, they says, okay. Both parties, Samsung and our Sri Lankan party, has agreed. Before getting the contract, Samsung before getting the contract, right? But after I was doing that procurement, after contract award to that party went to that particular Sri Lankan company and asked for a computers. I mean, then they were telling, no, 100,000 we can't give, it will be about 150. Maybe I'm not remember this exact amount, 150,000. So the Samsung big people, all the top level people came to me and told me, I mean, the top level in Sri Lankan, the managers, project managers handling that project came to me and explained me. So this thing happened. These people have signed, these people say 100,000. Now they say 150,000. So there's now, if I think that is nothing to do with me, I could have asked them something. No, it's not my problem. You could have a correct this thing with the subcontractors. They are not under my control. You are under my control, but they are not under my control. I could have tell them, no, I interfered with that. So the Samsung was telling, no, sir, if we take 150,000, if we paid 150,000 per computer, this will be a loss to our company. And they will sack all of our staff here, Korea Samsung company. So, okay, I understand that problem. And I call the Samsung people, okay, I will give you a date. I will ask that subcontractor also to come to me. I know very well that subcontractor. He used to supply computers and IT this thing and IT contracts with me. So many things. So I told both parties to come. I have given the time to the, say, Samsung chief came and the CEO of that company came. And I discussed with them. And I asked him, this is the dispute. Now, what are you going to do? This is not my interference. My interference is not a legal way, right? I'm just discussing with them. I asked him, the CEO of that company, why you have agreed with 100,000, now 150,000. He says, no, sir, this is because of the inflation and the dollar rate and the freight charges. Sometime back, maybe about 1 year ago, I have given this price. I have not given any this thing. So now I can't do it at this price. So first question I asked from the Samsung man and this man, both parties, I asked the same question, one question. You all have not signed a proper agreement. Both parties say, no, sir. Verbally, we agreed that. That's all. What the Sri Lankan company says also correct when I go through that. And the Samsung also correct. Because 100, 150, they can't do it. Because of the dollar price and the freight charges and other thing in Sri Lanka, they can't give it 150. But they have, I explained them. Initially, I have come to a settlement. I have given them a settlement. Luckily, both parties agreed with my suggestion. Otherwise, it was a big problem to Samsung, mainly. In the Sri Lanka name also, it's very bad if something goes wrong, because it's a Korean Exim Bank gave the money to Samsung to do this project, government to government like. So they are. I told them that what are you going to do now? And I said, okay, listen. Now you all have not done a proper way. You have not signed the agreement, main contract and the subcontract agreement. You could have a price formula for that, mainly, because 6 months, up to 6 months, okay, this price. If it is go more than 6 months, you will have to sign the contract with, you will have to have a price formula agreeing the both parties. So I explained them how to prepare a price formula. I think this is a good time to explain you all. When the COVID time, we had a big problem. I was at that time, I was a procurement governance advisor to the president. At that time, we had a lot of work. And this Secretary of Defense, Kamal Gunratna, and there are so many, 5 secretaries came, the president, and asked president, now we have only 3 days food items to supply police, air forces, hospital, even prison. I think you all are not aware. By that time, it was a severe problem, because I think you can remember this one. The Mysore dal price, I'm giving one example. Mysore dal price is maybe about 260 or 265, that price. They have agreed with the beginning of the year to supply all these places, right? At that price. But because of the COVID problem, all over the world, prices have escalated. It has gone in Sri Lanka, Mysore dal, 625 rupees or something like that. So all the suppliers says, no, they can't supply at the previous price. So it's a big problem. So they came to president. So president called me also, because I was his advisor. So he asked me, he first asked their secretaries. They had a discussion and they came with some solutions. So they have given the solution. So the president asked me, without damaging the procurement guide, according to the procurement guidelines, you'll have to do whatever you want to do. So I said, okay, then they have given a solution. President asked me whether you agree with this solution. I said, no, can't do it. So it's a big issue. So then president asked me, so what is the solution for that? You'll have to go according to the guidelines. It should be if you want, you can change it. I will get the cabinet approval, and if I want, I will put the parliament even regulation, but you have to do it immediately. So they have given only 1 day to me to prepare a proposal. I had my mind, one proposal. So they have given 1 day for me to give a proposal. So I have given the proposal, short-term solution and the long-term solution, 2 solutions. Still that proposal is there with the ministry. Under science, at that time, finance secretary was Mr. Sajid Tatigala. immediately the following day, I have prepared the proposal. Following day, I have submitted the president by about 2 o'clock in the evening, and then about 3 o'clock they call treasury people also. At that time, Mr. Sajid Tatigala was the secretary, finance. So they asked to, if this proposal is okay, immediately send the circular and give the solution for this problem. So we have given the solution. In that case, I have prepared a price formula for that, for the long-term plan. Price formula. Short-term plan I have given. They have done it and the problem was over. For long-term plan, I have given a price formula. Still there in a circular. If anyone interested, you can find out that from that circular. Or my proposal there, maybe with the treasury. So like that, this happened in COVID time, but I say that Samsung and my party, then I told the Sri Lanka company, okay, we'll come to the settlement. You give it 100 and now you all have not done a proper agreement, no proper price formulas, but we'll have to get it done immediately, this one. This is the Sri Lanka government work. So you come to 125,000, you agree for that 125,000. I have just worked out, not exactly 125,000, the prices, I just worked out. I go through the dollar rate and this freight charges, everything I work out. So they agreed and they have done it. It's a different issue. That's why I say, when you prepare agreement, you'll have to be very careful. Every time they will not agree. That's good for me also. They agreed with that. But it always you can't expect to happen that type of thing. Therefore, you have to be very careful. Performance monitoring and management. Establish regular communication channels and reporting mechanisms. Conduct site visits and inspection. Audit, monitoring. Those are very important things. Relationship management. Build a strong relationship with subcontractors based on trust and mutual respect. You can understand these things. You just go through that and see. Encourage collaboration and open communication. Resolve disputes fairly and amicably. That's how I resolve some disputes when we have a problem. Ethical consideration, but every time you won't get that chance, right? Ethical considerations, ensure fair labor practices, promote sustainable and responsible subcontracting practices. Now we'll come to the types of subcontracting. Limitations are there, subcontracting, everything we discussed. Now we'll come to the types of subcontracting. Subcontracting can be classified into different types based on scope, responsibility, and industry, depending on what's been delegated. Below are the main types of subcontracting with examples. Excuse me. Okay. The subcontracting types. One is project subcontracting. Delegating a distinct portion, phase, or sub-project within a larger project to a subcontractor. Often use the complex projects where different areas of expertise or specialized management are required. Involves delegating a significant part of a large undertaking. For example, in construction, as I told you earlier, maybe foundation work. In film production, maybe a special effects in a film. I have put film production that I have had my own experience. In a film production, I will tell you all, my son was the director of the Gajaman film, first animation and multimedia film in Sri Lanka. His name is Perera. The story was the Camillus Perera's Gajaman. I'm sure that most of you have seen at that time because it was the blockbuster film in 2024. There are some of the construction part also in my house still. Iron structures and all these things. For the special effects are very common in that film. So they couldn't take subcontractors. But normally they say that they have goes as a subcontractors on the other films, some parts, special effects, animation and multimedia. That's what I put that example here. Other type, specialized subcontracting. I told you all, it is also a very specialized one, but it's not a nominated subcontracting. It's the main contractor will get the specialized subcontractor. A subcontractor is hired for highly technical or specialized work. Example, in a hospital construction project, MRI machine installation is a subcontractor to expert medical equipment company. Otherwise, you can't do that. I saw in a TV news about 2 days back, they say in cancer hospital, there are about 5 MRI machines working only 2 machines. Then I think the director, somebody was given an explanation for that. 2 is under repair. The one is a very special expertise knowledge. They want to repair that. So they are searching for a person to repair that machine. So they'll have to give it to the subcontractor. Maybe a special problem they face in that machine. General subcontracting, you can just understand that is a normal one, non-specialized, not a specialized area. Routine tasks are assigned to subcontractors. For example, a government ministry. Now take that hospital. The government ministry, hospital health ministry, maybe that they have given a contract to cleaning, janitorial services to the one contract they have selected. That contractor might give subcontracts cleaning services to a local janitorial firm. Maybe inside the wards, they may be given to some party. But inside the operation theater and this MRI machines theaters, those areas, they will have to give some other party a subcontract. And sometimes the toilet, they will have to give to other party. Toilet and bathrooms, subcontract separately. One thing that I told you all, this is maybe the operation theater or the MRI machine installed room. There are some special, this thing, the clean, but this is janitorial services. It's not the specialized work like fixing the MRI machine or fixing the operation theater, something like that. It's a general subcontracting. Domestic subcontracting. I'm talking about all types of subcontracting, right? This is one of the topic that they have given to we have decided to go for these lectures. Domestic subcontracting. Work is now I have a small problem in my throat. Little bit difficult this thing, but I will continue. It's okay. Work is assigned to a subcontractor within the same country. Example, a Sri Lankan construction firm hires a local electrical company for wiring work. That is called domestic subcontracting. Maybe a construction firm is Maga, right? Maga will hire a local electrical company for their building construction. Or the prime land or what, some home, some Sri Lankan company will give a subcontract to the domestic company. Those are called domestic subcontractors. Like that, international subcontracting. Now, say for work is assigned to a subcontract in another country. Now, for example, a Sri Lankan IT company subcontracts software development to a team in India. That is there. And some of our, like the places like Burchusa and Highsend, that type of institutions do some development work and the subcontracting in other countries. So that is called international subcontracting. Professional services subcontracting, that is, there's nothing to explain, involves specialized knowledge or professional skills. Common in industries like consulting, IT software company, cyber security testing, marketing company. Now, say for example, ITSW software company will give a subcontract into the cyber security testing. So it's a specialized area. Now, marketing company, sometimes they give the advertising party to advertising agency. Or a market research, they will give to the expert on market research. They are professional people, right? That type of subcontracting called professional service subcontracting. Most of these things are similar like, right? But these things are there. You will have to study all these things. Labor only subcontracting. Labor only, that you can understand. Labor only. Sometimes the contract will take the laborers only, workforce only. They don't give material or vehicle or anything. No, only the laborers. That is called labor only subcontracting. Like that, you get material only subcontracting. You just go through that and see. If you give labor as well as materials, then you can, and the installation, everything, then you can say it's a turnkey subcontracting. The subcontractor is responsible for both labor and materials, delivering a complete product or service. Items, if there is some items hardware, that part, and the installation, everything. Now, for example, the power plant project subcontracts the entire electrical grid setup to a specialized engineering firm. So that is called turnkey subcontracting. There is a portion. In that portion, they will have to do everything. That is called turnkey subcontracting. Public subcontracting. Sometimes government subcontract part of a project under public procurement guidelines. Government is going to do some work, but there the government want to give some part of it, some portion of it for the subcontracting. So to give that, you know very well, you will have to follow the public procurement guidelines. As you are aware, the tender procedure, everything, according to the public procurement guidelines, you will have to follow. For example, the Colombo Port Expansion Project, funded by the ADB. Actually, ADB given the funded by ADB, but government is doing that. Subcontracts trading to a Dutch marine company. Trading part, they will have to give the Dutch marine company. But according to the public procurement guidelines, after competitive bidding, they have select the Dutch marine company to do the trading part. Private subcontracting. Private companies hire not only government, right? Private companies hire subcontractors without government involvement. Now, I have involved in one of these things. I have done the same place, some Lanka Hospitals Limited. I am the one who prepared the procurement guideline and manuals for them about 2 years back, not much, 2 years back. So I was doing subcontract to some other company. So the Lanka Hospitals is a SOE, state-owned enterprise. Someone was, I think, if I am correct, is Ganga there? In these students, Ganga, are you there? No.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You were asking me that SLT, about SLT, whether it's a PPP or not, no? You are the one who asked that question last time?
Which one, sir?
No, you asked that SLT is a
Yeah. Yes,
private public project or something like that.
I asked whether the SLT has a joint venture agreement.
Joint venture agreement. Yes, you asked that question. No, actually, I will answer that also. That day I couldn't, I didn't have this thing. Actually, it's the Sri Lanka Telecom was it's owned by the Sri Lankan government. Later that the part of it brought by Japan, TNT or somebody, they have taken over. And they have put into the I think that Shamakat also. Now all are involved. All are involved means the main stock stakeholder is a government, and that Japan TNT company, if I am correct, they also put some money. So now it has come to a SOE, state-owned enterprises. This Lanka hospital also, that is something like that, state-owned enterprise. But they don't want to go for a government procedure. It was before 2015. But after 2015, according to the new constitution, when I was a procurement commissioner in the National Procurement Commission, in that constitution, they have changed. Lanka hospitals and all these things, they will have to work under, they will have to follow the government procurement guidelines. But later again, they have changed it. You know, with the government change, most of these things are changing. I told you, you can't do any work. They are trying to change. I don't know why. So, you know, it's a joke. Sometime back, the people, the poor people, the government was helping. It's called Janasavya. Then the government changed. They have changed the name. What is the name that they have changed it to? Janasavya to what?
So,
From Janasavya to what is the name that changed? Do you know? Janasavya, Aswasuma. Right? Is that correct? From Janasavya to Aswasuma. I don't know whether you all are familiar with that. And this, again, I heard that they are going to change the name. I don't know. I can't remember that name. So there is something like that. Unnecessarily. I don't know why. Maybe there are some reasons. There are some necessary reasons. They know that, but I don't know actually. So something like that, it has changed. No, but what I say is, Lanka hospitals at that time, they have given this is a private subcontracting. I'm going to explain. Lanka hospital is given to one famous consultancy company in Sri Lanka. I'm not going to tell the names and all these things. So they have given they have subcontracting me, so actually subconsultant. See, as a subconsultants, they have taken me as to prepare one portion of it, that is the procurement guidelines and procurement issues. We have finished about 2 years back. That is called private subcontracting. Fixed price subcontracting. As you can understand, subcontractor paid a pre-agreed lump sum amount. The other one is cost plus subcontracting. Cost plus some, say 10%, 10% or 15% margin, profit margin. Mandatory subcontracting. Government or funding agencies require a percentage of work to be subcontracted. It's a mandatory. Now, for example, World Bank, sometimes, some projects only, World Bank funded projects, they always says, you will have to subcontract this contract, you will have to subcontract 30% of work to be subcontract to local SME, small medium enterprises. You know, small medium enterprises. As a in an agreement, in a credit agreement or a project proposals, World Bank used to say some projects, not all projects. Some projects you will have to take 30% of work is example. Sometimes 15%, sometimes 50%. 30% of work to be subcontract to local SMEs, small, medium enterprises. Number 15, voluntary subcontracting. The main contractor chooses to subcontract for efficiency or cost reasons. Example, a software firm voluntarily subcontracts UI or UX designs. That's called user interior or user experience design. It's in the IT sector, right? To freelancers. You can give it to one expert consultant as a voluntary subcontracting. Now we will come to the subcontract process. What is the process of subcontracting? Subcontracting is a critical component of contract management. That is correct. Now we were listening to all these things. Enabling business and governance to delegate tasks to third parties. However, this process involves several steps. In the subcontract process also, several steps are there to follow. What are the steps? We'll go one by one. Step 1, need assessment, need identification. First, you will have to see, like other things, need identification. What are the needs to give subcontract? Do you have a need to give subcontract? When you get the contract, you will have to study. Need for subcontracting. The main contractor determines. That will have to do by the main contractor. The main contractor determines which aspects of the project can be subcontracted. What is the portion that I want to subcontract, right? Because it's depend on the expertise or time constraints or the risk management or the insurance. For example, in a highway construction project, road paving is subcontract due to specialized equipment requirement. Right, road paving. That type of part you can subcontract. You have to identify whether I am going to do that. Whether I don't have a facility to do it, or I don't have my people, expert people to do that part. Like that, you will have to decide. First, you will have to identify the areas. For example, a construction company determines that it will subcontract the electrical work and the plumbing and the drainage system and roofing for a new building project. They define detailed specification for each trade. They can go for a few subcontractors for a plumbing or as I told you all, that the drainage system or a roofing. Maybe that contracting company can't do those things. They are not experts on that subject. Now, Haif Khalifa building also, I told you all, the drainage system has done by the very specialist American firm. They say, I don't know, they say that is the first time in the world they did that drainage system. Actually, there is no drainage system. You go through the internet and find out. If you can't find out, tell me that. I will explain you all in the next time. It will take some time. That is why I don't have a time to explain. that is in a process, selecting a subcontract process, the first step is the need assessment. Second step is selecting and evaluating subcontractors. That is also very important. I have given you. Now, when you study all the subcontract types, now automatically you can understand what is this. Second step, you'll have to actually, procurement of subcontractors in other hand, or selecting and evaluation. You'll have to evaluate you'll have to advertise, evaluate, and then you'll have to select. Or do the pre-qualification process, then shortlist, then do the selection. I have given other part you can understand. I will tell you the example. I have given 2 examples in all these areas. One, a government ICT project evaluates subcontractors based on ISO certification, cyber security compliance, and past projects. One of IT project, we had to evaluate to select a subcontractor based on ISO certification, whether ISO certification is there. Now, most of I told you all, what is that, sustainable procurement methods. There are some ISO certification. Environmental sustainable project, ISO 14001. If I am correct, yes. ISO 14001 number comes with the sustainable environmental procurement, right? So if you are doing that type of contract, you will have to see whether ISO 14001 is there. Like that, there are so many certifications, right? I'm telling you only one. In the ICT also, there are some ISO certifications, especially on laptops and notepads. I don't know whether I told you all. When the government tried to purchase notepads, about 200,000 notepads for the A-level students sometime back, I was also worked some as one of the procurement consultant. To do that, they have given some requirement. The temperature of the notepad should be less than this much. I can't remember all details, right? So for that, when I check how to prepare the specifications, then I found there is a ISO number to heat emission is less than this much. So I have put into the tender that requirement also. It should be ISO this number, like that, right? But that also I don't know what happened. Later on, we did our tender part. I don't know after that what has happened, but I know that some students were telling me, university students or someone, when I was asking them, they have taken few numbers, but they have not distributed among students. So they have given to some students or something like that. But it was not a successful IS project like other IS project. I have given another example. The construction company compares the bids from the electrical contractors. Consider their past projects, right? And selects the firm that offers the best combination of price and qualifications. Those are the procurement criteria. Some examples. Step 3, drafting the subcontract agreement, negotiation and award. You know, in procurement, you'll have to draft the subcontract agreement. I told you all that Samsung and the local agent subcontract agreement, it was not clear enough. But here you will have to put everything. What is the scope? What is the, now here it's a very good example for that Samsung and Sri Lankan company, what I told you all that project. A formal agreement outline, normal, I mean the correct agreement should outline scope, responsibilities, deliverables, timelines, payment terms, which I told you all. Payment terms may be a price formula. It's all depend. You little by little, you learn how to tackle these type of things. Every word of these things, there is a meaning of that. I can give you all my experience one by one, but sometimes it's no time to explain all these things. Some areas only, right? Some areas I don't have experience in that particular project. Schedules, responsibilities, dispute resolution mechanisms is very important, and penalties. Now, for that example, the Samsung and the Sri Lankan company, if it came to a dispute, you'll have to go to the dispute resolution mechanism. First, you will have to see whether that is there in the agreement. If it is not there in the agreement, you can't do anything. And penalties, it must align with the main contract's requirements. The prime contractor negotiates the terms and conditions of the subcontract agreement with the selected subcontractor. It's a ideal example for that Samsung and the Sri Lankan company real contract agreement. For example, in a hospital construction project, the agreement specifies that HVAC system installation must meet health and safety standards. Example 2, the construction company and the electrical contractor finalize the subcontract agreement, specifying the payment schedule, the project timeline for the electrical works, and the procedures for handling change orders, variance, work variances, change orders. Step 4, performance monitoring and compliance, regular audits, reports, and site visit, etc. Example 1, I have put it here, a telecom tower installation subcontractor must ensure signal strength and network stability meet regulatory standards. It's very important that telecom and all these things, towers, telephone towers and everything, there is a telecommunication regulatory body also. That is called, what do you call, telecommunication regulatory body. There is an organization also in Sri Lanka. Example 2, the construction company's project manager conducts regular site meetings with the electrical contractor, inspects the work, and ensures that it's progressing according to the schedule. That is step 4. Step 5, payment and financial management. Most of the time people are just forgetting this part, payment. It's very important. Payments are structured based on milestones. You'll have to explain, right? First stage, how much you'll have to pay. Second step, second stage, the foundation and something, how much. Like that, you'll have to work out based on milestones or performance based. incentives like that. A hydropower project raises 90% of the payment upon completion, and the remaining 10% after a 1-year performance evaluation. Some conditions I am giving as example. Step 6, subcontract completion, final inspection and contract closure. Example 1, the things you can understand. In an airport construction project, subcontractors hand over runway maintenance, manuals, and safety certifications. Runway maintenance manuals and safety certifications they will have to give. Example 2, I have given the electrical contractor completes the electrical installation, the construction company inspects and approves the work. That's all. Those are the process steps. And the last one, issues in subcontracting. Don't think it's everything ticky-ticky-bool. No. After doing all these things, there can be issues. Okay, we'll find out what type of issues, what type of risks. Then you can find a solution also. If you don't know the issue, there is no solution. If you identify the issue, you can see what is the solution. Subcontracting can present several potential problems. Here are some common issues. What? One, scope disputes. It's very easy to understand. If the scope is not clear enough, there can be issues. All these things you are aware, right? But I say, all these things now you know. But every time I'm explaining you all, it's not in a correct manner, right? Correct order, or a correct examples and the correct steps. Those are the things that we are trying to train you in these lectures. Otherwise, scope disputes, you can understand straight away. But after you see only, you can have whether it's in a checklist, when you are practically doing these things, practical applications, how to prepare a checklist, right? Number 1, scope disputes. You know what are the scope disputes. I have given an example also, therefore I will explain you all. The subcontractor claims that certain tasks are not included in the original subcontract agreement, while the prime contractor believes that they are. Most of the time it is happening. Prime contractor or main contractor think, yeah, it is there in his thinking. It is there in the contract, but it's not clear enough, or it's not there at all. So all this, that part you'll have to be very careful. Those are the scope disputes. So that means, again, it says scope has to be very clear, right? Quality control issues, you know, right? Poor workmanship or use of substandard materials can lead to rework and project delays. When you put substandard material, you'll have to change it. Project delays. Example, in road construction project, low quality asphalt, I mean tarmacs, by a subcontractor caused early deteriorations. So you'll have to do every day, you'll have to do maintenance, right? Performance issues, that's also understood, but we'll see example. Subcontractors may fail to meet the required quality standards, may not adhere to the project schedule, or may not perform the work in a safe manner. the subcontractor's work is defective, requiring rework and causing delays in the project again. Number 4, compliance and regularity risk. Subcontractors may fail to comply with safety, environmental, sustainable, or labor laws, leading to legal issues. When you go to the case only, you will have to see all these things. It's not there. As again that Korean Samsung and the Sri Lankan guys agreement. So many problems. Sometimes they'll have to go to the courts. Example, a subcontract in public housing project failed to follow fire safety codes, causing regulatory penalties. I don't know in Sri Lanka, these things are happening, but these are the correct things in all over the world. Examples. Public housing project, if you have given a subcontract to sub, when you give the sub to subcontractor, he's failed to follow fire safety codes in that country. If it is Sri Lanka, yes. I don't know if fire safety codes are there in Sri Lanka. Just a minute. So, causing regulatory penalties. Nityankula, you can't, legal action others can take. Payment problems. It should be very clear. Delays in payments can lead to subcontract insolvency, affecting project progress. If you don't pay to the subcontractor, or if you delay payment is there, then he won't be able to do anything. He won't be able to pay to their workers. And he won't be able to buy materials, right? Like that. In a PPP infrastructure project, delayed payments to subcontractors resulted in site shutdowns. Sometimes you will have to close down work in the site. If you can't pay, subcontractors will stop their work. Data security and confidentiality risk. Subcontractors handling sensitive data pose a cybersecurity threat. An outsourced IT subcontract in a government project exposed personal data due to weak security measures. And number 7, contractual and legal disputes. You can understand. A bridge construction subcontractor file a legal case due to unclear contract terms and on delay penalties. Over-reliance and on subcontract. Sometimes over-reliance on subcontractors. Excessive subcontracting can reduce main contractor control and create project risks. This is not happening, but if the procurement entity did a mistake, if he doesn't mention exactly you can't do more than 20% subcontracts, if it is not in the bidding document, the main contractor can subcontract everything to others. Then it's a real problem. For example, in a telecom expansion project, full reliance on subcontractors led to network quality issues. That is happening by the telecom, because that network, I mean the telecom towers and all these things, they are giving to subcontractors, most of these things. I think telecom, most of the things I have experienced in Sri Lanka, They have subcontracted. It happened to me also. One of my, this data line was not working. Two people came and they were trying to correct it. And they told me, sir, this is not ours. This has to be done by them. Then I asked them that you are not telecom people. They say, no, sir, we are subcontractors. So they had to go. Because of this experience, I asked when they come to put a, what do you call that? New, I can't remember. Anyway, then again also, they say that it's not a telecom, it's a contract is doing that. Fiber connection also, some other party. I asked them whether you are from telecom. No, they are from some other, I don't know. Like that telecom means maybe, I don't know, what is the amount of subcontracting they do. Communication breakdowns. The prime contractor fails to provide the subcontractor with timely updates or changes in the project schedule, leading to delays and confusion. That is, if you don't communicate in a correct way and a better way, then again the problem. Communication breakdowns. Ineffective communication between the prime contractor and the subcontractor can lead to misunderstandings, errors, and coordination problems. I have my own experience with regard to telecom. 10. Liability and risks. The prime contractor may be held liable for the action of the subcontractor. This can include liability for accidents, injuries, or damage caused by the subcontractor. Example, a subcontractor's employees is injured on the job site due to unsafe working conditions. The prime contractor may be held liable for the injury. Now, these days, of course, it's a little bit okay. Most of the buildings in city areas, they put that green netting, and also they put a board, safety first, like that. They have given the helmet to all the workers. Those days it didn't happen. Change orders, changes to the original scope of work can lead to disputes over cost and schedule adjustments. You'll have to be very careful. Disputes and claims. Disagreements between the prime contractor and the subcontractor can escalate into formal disputes or claims. This can lead to legal action and significant cost. For example, the contractor files a claim against the prime contractor for breach of contract due to non-payment. Okay, those are the important things to be noted. Best practices for effective subcontracting. Everything you get best practices. I just go through that. Clear contract terms, very clear. Due diligence in selection. Regular performance monitoring. I have explained all these things, right? Risk management strategy and legal and regulatory compliance. That's all. Okay. Now you have a few minutes to ask questions. Please ask questions if you have.
Sir, there may be instances that main contractor can subcontract exceeding the limits and without knowing the client.
Without knowing the client.
Yes.
So you asking at that stage what to do, no? Actually, I have given you in this lesson somewhere there monitoring and checks, right? So you will have to have some sort of concern about subcontracting. You'll have to monitor. You can put an audit. Your audit, if you feel something has happened like this, you can do the audit, your audit, and see whether the subcontractor is doing more than what you have mentioned in the contract, main contract or a bidding document. And also, number two, if something happens like that, you are doing most of the public contracts, you can blacklist that main contractor. And you can put some penalties also. If you have put a penalty clause in your contract. Now, I told you all, we used to put the maximum thing you can do. Say more than 20%, you can't do the subcontracting. In that case, if you want, you can put the penalty clause also. But that is, normally we don't do that. If you do more than this is the penalty. That means that you are trying to, I don't know how to explain that. You are trying to give some chances to that guy to do some unnecessary thing. Then you can ask me, then so how about the this liquid damages in procurement? Yes, liquid damages is, we don't know why it's happening. Maybe a shipment delay or some reason. There, you can give this, you can mention in the contract liquid damages this much, 0.1% up to 10 days or whatever it is. But here, normally we don't say penalties, but you can do the check-in and the compliance test and auditing time by time, monitoring, and can take some action. You can straight away, you can send the warning to that main contractor and you blacklist him. Okay.
Yes,
You can ask.
understood.
Okay, ask.
Sir,
Yeah.
can the prime contractor or the main contractor keep a profit margin when using the subcontractor or when hiring a subcontractor?
Say it again. Say it again.
Can the main contractor keep a profit margin out of the work that is going to be taken from the subcontractor?
By the subcontractor.
Yes.
Yes. He will keep definitely. Because he can't say, okay, electrical subcontracting, the cost is about, say, 25 million. But the contractor will keep some, say, 10% or 5% or 15%. They will keep it. It's okay. It's not our problem. It's not client's problem. But nominated subcontractors, they will have to pay the amount that we have mentioned. Otherwise, actually, the business person, the contractor, definitely they will keep a profit margin out of the subcontracting amount also.
So you mean to say when there is a nominated subcontractor, it will not be possible, is it?
No, they can't do it. They will, because we are negotiating the prices with the subcontractor. That's why we say nominated subcontractor. That contractor is having a lot of contacts with him. I mean, the support, so many things. But he can't touch the payment that we are making out of provisional sum or whatever it is, our arrangement. They can't do anything. Sometimes I don't know whether the nominated subcontractor also later stage he will pay something to main contractor because of his support and everything. But there is no rule for that. They can't touch it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Another 15 minutes more. If you have any questions, okay, no problem. You go through these materials. I think I have sent it to you all. Yes, it's in the LMS. Maybe that the coordinators, they have uploaded into the website. You can go through that and see. You study, and if there is anything you cannot understand, you can ask next day. I think another contract management, I have another 1 or 2 lectures. So you can ask any questions on that. Okay. Thank you, participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You are
Thank you, sir.
welcome.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Good night.